Um, yeah, blessings are real, bro. Blessings are real, fam. You know, the ability to see them is something that we don't realize we have until we get out of our own way. Oh, the energies are continuously activating, to be honest with you, here till the new moon and thereafter. I believe up until February, March, this is going to be, we're in it for the long haul here, fam. You know what I'm saying? Astrologically, the next 3 months are going to be nothing less than intense. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are already experiencing these things because some of us are having near death experiences or just having a profound awakening in one way or another, realizations, clarity, sudden changes. You know, I got to say that there's just a plethora of things happening to a lot of people right now out there, energetically. It started with Three Eye Atlas and the changing of the frequencies thereafter, right? A lot of people don't realize that frequency affects everything, and your brain is a receiver of those very things. Your energetic being and your energy system, your direct reflections of the energy around you. That's why we say pay attention to the astrology, pay attention to the sun, pay attention to the moon, its cycles, its rotations, its patterns. So that way you get a better understanding of the very things that help you know yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because these things are influencing your life whether you're thinking about it or not. So either way that you look at it, you're playing in the energy, is what spirit is saying. So it's better to be aware of the energy that you're playing in instead of having the energy play you, right? And we talk about energy, we talk about the auric field, we talk about all these things, not only in the mentorship space, but also in the healing space. And this is one of the reasons why we also come on here as well, is to be of service to people, to help them understand themselves better and give them insight and in-depth awareness of themselves in a way that's easy to understand, right? Because if devotion and commitment is not necessarily part of your repertoire, is what spirit is saying here, then you're at a disadvantage to the energy around you, right? We all want to harvest something. We want to bring in something. We want something to bring in. You want to bring things closer to you. You want to manifest things. You have desires. You have goals. You have dreams. You want to get them bills paid. You want to make sure that Christmas is great. You want to make sure that New Year's is going to be bomb. You want to make sure that next year is going to be all about you and success. Well, great. Guess what? Those are all themes that is going on collectively, and all we have to do is learn how to say yes to it. And the easiest way to learn how to say yes to it, sir, how are you? The easiest way to say yes to it is to open up our hearts to the very thing that we've been closed off from, right? Which is everything around us, you know? And we have to take a moment for that very understanding of ourselves, only to realize that in this moment, that's when it all happens. Within that moment, within your stillness or your beingness, or that spark of clarity that literally comes out of nowhere, and then you realize shit or you suspect shit, and then it becomes real and it's true, right? Or we could say that you've been called out for whatever reason, or you've realized the truth within others that also helps to realize the truth within yourself, you know, which then allows you to reflect on it and be like, oh, well, shit, I'm not going to do that anymore, you know? And then in that moment, and this is what's beautiful about manifestation, fam, and divinity, is that in that moment that you make a decision to stand up to yourself, all right, for yourself, do something for yourself, learn how to love yourself from an internal awareness, right? Loving yourself are all byproducts of those very things that you desire, but you got to hold on to them. You got to learn how to keep that steady, keep that frequency moving, right? Keep yourself from getting distracted, keep yourself from getting tempted, keeping yourself from literally engaging in comfort and obsession in one way or another, because these energies will literally carry you away in a moment's notice, simply simply because of the fact that there are things that have been distracting us for a very long time that are superficial at this point. People, places, things don't have the same value, like my wife was saying. You know, things have changed. So have you. And are you on the good side of realizing that, or are you on the bad side of sadness? Where you're looking down on yourself somehow, or You have someone else in purgatory and you can't get over the fact that they did this to you or they did that. And you're literally holding on to an emotion that doesn't serve you anymore. You realize that all that passion and that anger and that fire that literally comes out to you when you want to get revenge or you want wrath on somebody or you want to get your way or you're being petty about something and you just want to make yourself, it's, you're trying to satisfy yourself. And that's not the way to do it. The best way to satisfy yourself is to find joy in the simple pleasures of life and the flow of life itself. And we can easily find that within the breath. Because when we decide to savor what we already have, family, this is important. When we decide to savor what we already have, like a simple breath, the peace that comes with it from your ability to just sit there and do it is, it's like nothing before, because everything is yours now. You own it. Self-responsibility, accountability, authenticity, integrity, being the best version of who you are, because you won't settle no more for what's been in lack, is what Spirit just said. You are lacking the very individuality and responsibility within yourselves to realize this, how sensitive you are, how aware you have become from above. Knowing that the heavens are upon you, that are speaking to you in a way that you have never been spoken to before, and they're calling you. And they will not let you go, and they will not stand for more of miserable aspects of ourselves where we continue to purgatory, put ourselves in and persecute and put ourselves in purgatory unnecessarily, because that is from a place that doesn't exist anymore, is what they're saying. So it's like, it's almost the way that they're saying it is, our suffering is what keeps us here, is what binds us here, is what sticks us to something that we don't belong to anymore. Thank you. A lot of people are having some heart-based chakra activations, heart-based awareness, matters of the heart, courage, strength, understanding, but envy, desire, obsession are clear signs of those imbalances within ourselves. If we're still jealous, if we have to have things a certain way, or if we want to control something, and in a moment you could look like you want the precious and your name is Smeagol, and you feel like shit just for a brief moment, but you didn't know what that was, and it was actually Spirit letting you know, telling you, hey, this is no longer you. And it's time to embrace that in one way or another within yourself. That we have the ability to embrace the love of the divine that we very are, that is literally aiding us in everything that we do and every day. It's gotten to the point where the relationship with Spirit is somewhat of an understanding of family or community within myself. You know, And I think it's important for us to understand that there are beautiful, very amazing divine beings around us all in one way or another, especially everybody in here or out there. You know, they're here to help. They're not fucking, they're not, it's metaphysical, is what they're saying. To believe in oneself and to learn and grow is of the utmost, you know, and that's what it means, the world to them, to be able to engage in that space with all of us, because this is the bond that they've wanted to have with us for a very long time. And the ego limits us from understanding those things within ourselves. And if we could just open up and understand that literally those tingles within yourself, the things that you cannot explain, the goosebumps that you get out of nowhere, are all sensations of things that are around you that you may not necessarily know or see, or get cold for no fucking reason. It's all happening. I hear it. It's all happening to you in one way or another. We're all manifesting some type of awareness for people to understand that these things, the divine, is happening right here, right now. And everything that's happening in your life is not necessarily because you're blessed, it's because you know you're blessed. You know that these things are coming from a loving place that you can't explain how it happened, but it did. You know what I'm saying? Answer the call is what spirit is saying, because it's louder now, you know? And one of the reasons and why they have me talk about the energy so much is just because it's a way of understanding yourself like never before. If you could feel those things outside of you, you know damn well they're happening inside of you. That's where they're coming from. You know what I'm saying? When somebody touches you, that's one thing. But when somebody touches you here, inside, you know, that's internal awareness. And this is what we teach people about the energy being inside of us, that literally, even if we're living everyday life and we're completely unconscious of the shit, sometimes, or maybe every time, there's something inside of you sparks that creates a thought that allows you to have a suggestive behavior, whether it's laughter, you know, or not, or sadness. We don't realize that these things are happening to us, right? Because there's something inside of us, a spark, a feeling, a sensation that causes us to speak, think, act, behave, right? And some of them are triggered by other people, but most of them are triggered by the divine, by God. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on what you want, what you focus on, is what Spirit is saying. When you focus on the above, the only thing that you have to know to focus on the above is where your 2 feet are at and what's around you, because Spirit loves you, right? And that's kind of like an open communication or an open invitation for more, to know more, to do more, to think more, to be more, to be the very thing that you were intended to be, is what the creators say, is what they say. You know what I'm saying? So, them and the creator. I have to clarify these things sometimes. You know, we don't know what it's like to be sacred, bro. We don't know what it's like to be honored in a divine way. And I'm not just talking to women, I'm talking to men. Like, where are the men? Where are they at? I see all these beautiful people with gifts, but I don't see the divinity in them that they honor consistently. It's like a job for them, or just an awareness, or a cool title. You know what I'm saying? And Spirit is saying spiritual authenticity. It's a way of living, is what they're teaching us. And they've been teaching us this whole time, is to be in naturality and to match harmony's rhythm within ourselves, in order to move away from the things that displease and displeasure us the most, right? And 9 times out of 10, that's what we're holding on to inside, not knowing that it wasn't meant to be that way, but discovering that very experience, experiencing that very understanding. And that's why they say you know you better than anyone in this world, right? But to know yourself, you have to discover from others. So that way their mirror aspect allows you to better understand where you're at in your current structure, in your current state. The mirror has to be seen in others if we cannot see it inside ourselves. So a lot of us are paying attention to what's going on around us and what displeases us. And basically, from what I understand, is that they're saying that that's your internal chaos that is literally manifesting the way you look at things right now, regardless of what it is. So that internal receiver is almost projecting your reality and your realizations that you're having right now. And this is why we talk about self-responsibility, we talk about accountability, and we talk about your sovereignty, right? Because it's a divine connection with self that allows you to put yourself exactly where you need to be, instead of guessing or choosing to make decisions that don't necessarily serve your greatest and highest good. they say beings of all measures, so it doesn't matter where you're at in life or what you're looking at, you know? Especially when it comes to being a masculine in this world, dude. It's like, what is it? You know, I've told people 10 million times, I had to ask God what it was like for that. And my wife showed me that, you know? And after, you know, even though that I'm still in the learning and the teaching space simultaneously, I think it's a beautiful experience to honor the divinity that I am. Because I actually had to master the feminine first. Because I was in my wounded feminine. Believe it or not, as a man, I was in my wounded feminine state. And then after I pulled myself out of that and brought that to balance, then I needed to understand what it was like to be the masculine version of the divine. And I asked for that. I asked for that center. I asked for that awareness. I asked for that entrainment. I asked for it all because you know what? Because we deserve more as men. We deserve more as beings, okay? But, you know, just specifically to this little topic that we're talking about right here, to be a spiritual man in this day, to be a divine masculine or a divine feminine being is a life like no other, is what Spirit is saying. And we can all engage in that, but we have to be willing to answer the call. And that's what this transition is all about, is what they're saying here. This transitionary state in which we are all in has been bestowed upon us in a way like never before, because now it is allowing us to move forward in a way like we have never done before. And I'm not talking about on a human scale, I'm talking about on a you scale or a me scale. You know, on an individual scale, which makes the most difference in the world, is what Spirit is saying. You realize that your scale is now going towards more. And you can't handle it, is what they're saying here. You know, you're not prepared because it requires preparation, it requires movement, it requires understanding, it requires teaching, it requires meditation, and it requires a commitment like no other, because we have never been committed like this before, to honor the sacred and sovereign self, is what Spirit said. You know, we have to honor ourselves and honor the fact that everybody else is on their own path, and it doesn't matter what they're doing unless they're personally affecting you somehow or harming you. You know, focus on your goals, fam. Focus on the centering of yourself. Focus on your aura. Keep your energy clean. Mind your business. Stay away from those who don't serve you anymore. The ones who to continue to ask you for more is what I hear. So I believe that's kind of like a message for somebody. Thank you, honey. Right as I need a drink. You gotta love divine timing, fam. And I believe that's kind of like the channel message for the day, is that you don't really know how much something loves you until you tune into it, until you feel it out, until you don't know what kind of support you actually have on the other side, till you start looking, till you start wanting to look, till you start lighting yourself up so they can see you, so they can call you, you know. But that has to, you have to learn how to work the energy being, the energy body, the conscious you, the awareness, your light body, because you are a light being, you know. And when you start to understand the light body and your aura and how it interacts with this world and this universe and how everything is in harmony in one way or another, ooh, you learn we balance ourselves, fam. And it's from that balance that it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't, it's not the solve all, do all, be all, but it literally is, in a way, in the long run, when you realize that it takes you step by step in recognizing any wrongs or flaws. It takes you step by step to understand, you know, the proper way of processing these things and letting go and surrendering the things that don't serve us. It teaches you how to let go. It teaches you how to not think so much. You know, a lot of the things that are happening, they're pointing out the sacrals. You don't know that your sacred center, whether you have a womb or not, in this area, whether you're male or female, understand that this is your sacredness. Okay, this is also your power center. It's your chi. This is how you manifest. This is how you create passion and motivation and ambition to do things. And you get to speak those things if you know, unless your throat chakra was blocked. But right here, and this is funny because most men don't realize this, that they give their sacredness away excessively because they've been conditioned to believe that that is a way of life, you know? And we don't realize how much of that stuff we give away when we do those things, when we fall into our obsessions or our belief systems that cause us to be, you know, to have habits that are not necessarily pertinent to our growth or our stability. As a matter of fact, it promotes instability because the sacred center is the sacred self. This is the sacred self onto the sacred self of the sacred center, right? And don't just give your energy away to those who are not worthy of your love, your understanding, your kindness, and your compassion. Because now it's about energetic protection in this season and knowing how your energy being works, how to energetically protect yourself and become more self-aware, because as you become more sensitive, you're going to have a lot of questions, is what Spirit is saying. You know, that you might have a lot of questions on the other side of the fence, like, you know, be prepared is what they be prepared. Because basically as it all shifts, you're coming into a new awareness of yourself, a higher self, a newer version of yourself, a rebirth. Some of you may feel reborn or reburnt, is what I just heard. You know, and that taxes the energy body as we go through these escalations, as these roller coasters is the way that they paint it to me. And regulating this type of energy system, especially being a sensitive or having a gift of some sort or a sensitivity of some sort, brings higher awareness of what's exactly is happening to you, you know? So it's a way, Spirit just said, self-diagnosis, you know, and helping you understand the energy being, the energy body, and the energy system. And if you want to learn more about those things, you can come to our website, fourcornershealing37.com, or you can even see our sister site in that aspect to better understand yourself at womb-of-the-ancient-sun.org. Or we're having an event, fam, here on the 20th. You know, I know you guys know about the event in the afternoon. We're also having one in the evening. It is going to be a new main sound Reiki circle for all of you people out there. And just to kind of like balance the energy, ground ourselves out, and get into alignment or better awareness of where we need to be, what we need to be doing, or what we need to be focused on, because it's all about the work right now, is what Spirit just said, and paying attention to that work that needs to be done and that self-awareness that needs to be had, is what Spirit is saying is of the utmost importance to take the next step. Here we go in the next couple months, you know, and we said it before, and you know, I would believe that there will be a culmination in the messages and the elevation of that very understanding as we get into, you know, February or the later months thereafter, you know, because that's a transition in itself. And now we're here asking others to answer the call, and spiritual beings who know themselves to understand that they're not meant to settle and they're meant to serve more, is what I just heard. So anybody that'd like to participate in an energetic alignment today, I'm just doing them for $25. The link is in the bio. You can type done and how you donate it in there, and I'd be more than happy to do an energy alignment for you. Or you can catch me on the Reiki Circle on the 20th in the evening. It's at 6 Mountain Time. It's just $22. If you got, for those of you who want to donate, it's going to be really cool because we're doing sound and Reiki simultaneously. You know, check it out on the website, fourcornershealing37.com. Or we're also having a special. I don't know if you guys didn't receive the email or not. You know, emails seem to be a funny thing lately. For $33 off your chakra alignment and nervous system reset. You know, we normally do that service for $133. Now we're doing $33 off. The coupon code is, what is it? Reset 25 in all caps if you're interested in that service. I had to think about it for a second. There's so much going on. So again, that coupon code is reset 25 for, you know, a discount on a full energy body reset, you know, and a nervous system reset, because our nerves are basically spirit in form. And we have to take care of our nervous system and learn how to regulate our nervous system as well. because the very path of spirit also goes through our cells and our nerves, and it's a form of communication like no other, is what they want to say. They want to add, and to help you, to better understand yourself and what actually happens inside your body and what awareness it brings when these things light up in your body. And we educate you as we do these things for you. So reach out to us, fam, or you can get one right now. Just type done and how you donated in the chat. I'd be more than happy to do a healing right here. I'm ready. Hello, Mystic Earth Guardian. Welcome in. So, if you like, if this resonates in one way or another, you don't have to be silent. You could put it in the comments, about how you feel or how you reflect on these things, because these things are important. You know, I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. The energy is back and forth, in and out. But, and, I believe part of the message was on the grounding and the stability that we have the ability to kind of like tune into now. Like, there's an ability to understand your own stability, is what spirit is saying. You can ground like no other when you allow yourself to be still. you know some of us are too busy to understand that, so they have to be helped. you know but if you can feel the tingling sensations in your feet in one way or another right now in this moment, then you realize that there is a sensation below you that is speaking to you and trying to connect with you, and that's what we help people do. you know so I believe I'm going to get up out of here. But it's been a pleasure hanging out and doing these collective message with all you beautiful people here live, man. And kind of like share a vibe for a moment to get a better indication or a better note on where we're headed and what we're doing here, because a lot of us are looking for direction, but we don't necessarily have a conclusion of that direction yet. And everything's kind of like the building blocks of life and how you enjoy the journey instead of fight against it. So, with that being said, much love to each and every one of you.